How much do you have to listen to someone who wants to tell you how to live and what you're doing wrong, and if you just follow their advice, you'd be good? Well, not much. Have you heard the phrase iron sharpens iron as a justification for someone telling you everything that is wrong with you? Or have you ever been part of an accountability group or had an accountability partner? Same thing. Someone who feels that they have the duty to tell you what you should be doing. Social media trolling, bullying, bickering, the freedom strangers feel to reply in all caps to someone they don't even know on an issue they don't know is all part of this narrative. You deserve to know the truth. Your heart deserves to be freed from the myth and dangers of accountability.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Well, hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast. My name is Robert Cottrell, and I'm here as always with
Susan Cottrell.
I timed that where you were drinking your tea. I looked up and you were drinking your tea. I thought, I wonder if she's going to finish in time.
Yeah, I was rushing.
You're right there. Good job. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Connect with us at FreedHearts.org. A couple of things to note there. Check out the resources area. There are a ton of links, and that's where resources to our books and our merch shop with T-shirts and stuff is right there. Also, if you're interested in getting some counseling, life coaching from Susan, you do that, Susan, on a very limited basis. Mm-hmm. A number of people. It's for individuals. It could be couples. It could be all kinds of issues there. But it's really, as I've heard you kind of do it, as I've passed through the room and heard the results, it's really powerful. And so if you're needing that or would like some more information on that, just email us at podcast@freedhearts.org, or there's a link on the website as well. And don't forget, we are a listener-supported podcast. That means we don't have any ads by design. We are only able to do this through the kindness of people like you. So if you like what we do, if you're listening, please consider a gift. You can also do that on the Donate tab right there on the website. Or if you're on Venmo, search for us, FreedHearts. That's always one word, FreedHearts. You'll see the logo there. That's us. We would appreciate anything you feel so led to share or to give. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That it? That's it.
That's it.
Okay. So, we've been talking a lot about over the course of over 170 episodes about people sharing their opinions about you, about your life, about your identity, about everything. And some people know you very well and they share their opinions, and some people don't know you at all and they share your opinions. And so we wanted to talk today about something called accountability.
Woohoo! Just kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that it's a word that's been abused and misused, and it's a myth, and there are lots of dangers in that. I recall as a young Christian, being part of a men's accountability group, and iron sharpening iron and all this kind of stuff, and it was freaking bullshit. Excuse me. I mean, it was just, I have never felt so bad and so judged, because there's always evidently some guy or a few guys in that group, even if it's a one-on-one, quote, accountability partner. Just that alone means I got my act together, you don't, and I'm going to tell you what you should be doing and what's wrong with you. And it doesn't feel at all like, a friend coming alongside you to encourage you and lift you up and help you through things. It feels very much, by design, it feels very much like we are the leader, we are the religious leader in this relationship, and we will give you instructions on what you should be doing that you're clearly not doing. And it just doesn't work. The whole idea is a myth. How it's done in that rules-based, behavior-focused evangelical church is not effective, and it's actually dangerous.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
And I realized we just sort of gathered all that up from the table of accountability and just put it in the trash. And that may not be everybody's experience. You may have found it, people may have found it encouraging and supportive and help you out of a bad time. And especially if you were somehow on a 12-step program or something. May have been things that really helped you.
Yeah.
But what Rob's talking about has been common in the church, where you just get an accountability partner, and you hold each other up, and it just comes down to performance.
We got to stop you.
Shame.
We got to stop you for a second, because what you said is the key. You said hold each other up, and that's not what most accountability programs are.
It's not been your experience.
That's not the dynamic of a lot of them, and it's where you have the elder religious leader and the servant.
Yes.
There, and that's a whole different dynamic than in a 12-step, where it's a friend who also is very clear about their addiction coming alongside you, versus someone who thinks they know it all coming alongside, helping you see that how much you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Very different dynamic.
Yes.
And we're talking about that.
Yes.
Today.
Yes. We're not trashing everything, just most of it.
Well,
of this, in the way that we described.
We're not trashing the friendship side by side. We're on this journey together, like we are with you, beloved, here as
partners.
you're listening. Yeah, we're partners in this. We're on this journey together. Let's lift each other up.
And no shaming.
Let's encourage each other. Let's help each other.
Right.
Versus a lot of this, which is involving a power dynamic and a lot of shaming.
Right. And if you don't want to be part of it, then you're not being submissive. You're not being of that.
Right.
Is really shaming.
So that's our disclaimer. That's our
disclaimer.
Explanation of this.
Yeah. I do remember, whenever I think accountability, I remember a friend I had who was pretty darned conservative and strict. And anyway, it's kind of interesting that we were friends there for a while. But at one point I was saying that I wanted to write, this was quite a while back, years ago, but I wanted to write a certain amount, a certain thing. And she said, well, you want to be accountability partners, and, we can check in and you can tell me how much you wrote. And I just, everything inside me just went, ugh. Then I just knew what I'd be doing is writing for her. If the Spirit wasn't moving me and I wasn't writing, I'd either write because blah, 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 or I'd have to, because I was going to be talking to her, or I'd tell her I didn't do it and feel like a failure, or I'd lie and say I did when I did. I just,
right. The potential or the guilt kicks in, and then with that guilt comes the shame. And as you said, you potentially lie about it.
Yeah. And none of it produces good writing. None of it produces the result that I want. So anyway, we've got on a while, but it's kind of a big thing in the church,
Yeah, it
often.
is.
So if you've had good experience with it, I'm very happy for you.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it kind of comes down to, how much do we have to listen to someone who wants to tell us how to live and what we're doing wrong? And if we just follow their advice, we'd be good. Not much. Honestly, not much. I was talking to a parent about not trying to be the Holy Spirit to their child. And I started to say, well, I understand. I know iron sharpens iron, because it's such a catchphrase that Christians use. And, we share this because so many Christians say iron sharpens iron, and gives themselves full license to say anything they want, everything they see wrong with you. And as I was saying it, as the words were coming out of my mouth, I thought, I bet there is a different meaning than I have been taught about this, just because so many things other have been taught differently. I thought, I wonder what that really means. So I looked into it. And I think we need to talk about that. So, think about all the verses we take for granted, and that they mean what we've been told they mean.
Yeah. Well, we talk about this too, as a general guide for Bible verses is who are they written by? Who's it written by? Who's it written for? What did they say just before this verse? What did they say after this verse? What's the context, in other words?
Right.
And then you have to take into consideration original language and any edits or translation
many of which we don't
even know.
Yeah.
And then the bottom line is, you read everything through the lens of love, through the lens of Jesus' life and and teachings.
And through the protecting of the vulnerable, because very often when you read something that feels harsh, you look at it, it's being said to a religious leader. Mm-hmm. You would think that would be pointed out, but.
Right. Well, that's the convenience of cherry picking, is you pull it out and use it to justify something that you're doing that may not be the right thing in that person's life.
Yes. Yeah. It's something said to a leader to protect the vulnerable from that leader is then turned as a weapon against the vulnerable. So that's a real thing to keep watching. I know we've said this kind of thing before, but I want to give you, we want to talk about this iron sharpens iron because it's a great example of that. So as I looked into it, I came across a great article by Isaac T. Soon, S-O-O-N, and I find him very smart and very insightful in what he was saying. He comes at things from a different and illuminating angle. And this article, it's from 2021, is a very different angle. So it's Proverbs 27:17. It reads, "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend." And we take it for granted that this is helpful, like the proverb, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend." Or, dare I say the phrase, tough love, which is all tough and no love, and also not in the Bible. But look at the context. You've always got to look at the context. The Hebrew Bible and even the King James Bible says, "As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance, the face of a friend." Okay, iron sharpens the face of a friend? What does that mean? And as Isaac T. Soon pointed out, we don't see sharp faces in the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament. We see sharp eyes or a sharp tongue, but these are destructive descriptions. Tongues are sharpened like venomous snakes ready to strike, it says. So a sharp tongue or a sharp word is not a good thing. It's not a compliment. You're not helping your friend get sharper. You're provoking them to anger. You're making them an enemy. That's what the verse is talking about.
Wow, that's different.
That's different. It's provoking the relationship until even your friend becomes an enemy because you won't stop telling them how wrong they are. There's no kindness in there, and there's no reconciliation unless they agree with you. How is that a relationship? And that is the meaning of the ancient Greek term used. The whole Bible was translated into Greek and then back into Hebrew, and the Greek term means to provoke or irritated. Paroxuno was the word. And,
this is just completely opposite of how it's conveyed.
Yes, exactly. And
it's not helpful.
No. And it's sort of a microcosm of how the whole Christian teaching of this type that we've talked about, the conservative, evangelical, whatever, Catholic, whatever church has turned everything upside down and done it all inside out. And that's what this term represents. So
it's a little bit a shame that they use sharpen to sharpen someone instead of to provoke or irritate, which is a more accurate meaning, because or to grind somebody.
Yeah.
Got anyone out there that's grinding on you? Not in a good way. Not in a good way.
Not in a
grinder here.
swipe right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it right or left? I've never swiped.
Know.
I don't know. I think it is right. Right is good because I saw a Broadway musical called Six. And in that musical, there's a swipe left, swipe right thing, and it is swipe right. That's how I know that.
Cool.
I know things. I don't know how, but that's right.
You just knew.
But it's unfortunate that they chose that word because it is confusing. And now today,
well, there are a lot of things like that. Yeah.
Today we think of using metal to sharpen knives, but ancient iron tools could not be used to file or to sharpen other iron tools. When you did that, the process would actually make both iron pieces dull.
Yeah, that's different. This iron grinding iron refers to the preparation of a weapon, of something ready for battle. So to sharpen someone's face or grind someone's face means to provoke someone to antagonize them and into a fight to become an enemy to make them ready for battle. It's basically saying, if we keep talking about this, we're going to have a fight here. I'm asking you to stop because if you continue, this may lead to a heated or foolish discussion and it may become irreparable. So that is really interesting in the context of the verses around this one are warnings against discord, unnecessary discord.
Wow. That's so eye-opening.
Yes.
Now, we want to kind of stop for a minute and tell you that you're probably not going to be able to convince your family,
yes,
your evangelical Christian family, that iron sharpens iron is a bad thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you can't convince
them.
They
may not even believe you that you didn't choose to be gay or trans or whatever.
Right.
So.
If you can't convince them that the word homosexuality or homosexual is not in the Bible until 1946 or that all the clever passages aren't what they seem and they're unlikely to hear you on this. Just saying.
Right. Yeah. If they won't see that the heart is deep, who can know it, is a better translation than wicked, then they probably won't hear this. But
yeah, they can't hear what they can't hear. But you, beloved, you need to know it for yourself. To set your heart free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think of my friend who would always feel worse after seeing her mother because she would just unravel every decision my friend made. And I said, why do you keep listening to her? And she said, because I want to be able to take constructive criticism. And it just hit me. I said, is it constructive? Can you construct anything out of it?
That's like destructive criticism.
Yeah, that's a good turn on that phrase.
That's really the test. That's the red flag. That's the radar. That's the test, beloveds. If the conversation with your loved ones leaves your stomach in knots, feeling awful, if it doesn't sit right with you, that's your spirit, that still small voice, don't do it. You don't have to.
Yes. Yes. And just because you want them to read Torn or Mom, I'm Gay or any other helpful article or whatever doesn't mean you have to read their non-affirming stuff that shreds you inside.
Yeah, because that's stuff you've never heard.
Right, right. Exactly. I mean, they want, just to be fair, you read my stuff then. No, you already know that narrative. You don't need to read it again and be gutted again. You get to choose here.
Yeah.
And social media, have you noticed that has become a hotbed of iron grinding iron? All
in the
is
worst
provoking
way. Yeah.
to a fight. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people live in that space. I was watching Matthew McConaughey, and I'm not a fan or not against him. I just don't have any opinion very much. But he was talking about his kids and social media and not allowing them to have accounts and things like that until they're older.
Like 15. He said his son wanted it at 13 or younger, but they waited till 15.
And I wish I had the quotes in front of me, but his point was, you go out and you build your identity. You discover your identity through life, through real life living.
Yes.
First, and then if you have something to say to the world, you do that through social media. You don't go to social media to learn or to develop your identity at the hands of all these wonderful, kind, generous, selfless affirming people that are part of social media.
Right.
And that's the problem is so many kids are developing, well, this is my identity, this is who I am, this is my worth and value in society, based on their interactions on social media from such an early age. So I thought that
was brilliant. You recreated that really well.
Yeah, thanks. And
they're just to be clear, they're building their identity from random strangers and including bots that are telling them who they are.
Or friends they know, they're not really friends. They're Facebook friends.
Right.
But they're not really friends.
Yeah.
Folks they would not hear from in normal life outside of social media if they were not on social media.
Right. And building building Facebook friends, I heard this said, is something like building your bank account on Monopoly money. It's like,
does that work?
It doesn't really work. No. In case you're thinking that it doesn't work.
That deposit I made today is going to be returned. I mean, the bickering, the trolling, the bullying, outright bullying, the invitation for strangers to reply in all caps to someone they don't even know about an issue they don't even know about is built into the algorithm. It's what you get with every time that you spend on social media, every minute that clicks away, everything you respond to or like or even look at or linger on, the algorithm, the AI goes, oh, got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's creepy.
I know. And
controversy stimulates engagement. So don't get Zuckerberg, if I'm using that correctly. If someone brings up a verse and says, oh, you mean they say iron, I'm going to just iron sharpening iron. Oh, do you mean iron provoking iron? No, I don't want to get in a fight with you.
That's good.
You can take the reins back on these things.
I mean, churches also often thrive on the controversy because a good enemy raises big money.
Yep.
And then you add, bots to the mix and everything, as you said, and that's just designed to stir the pot because they want you to click and spend more time. And you do that when you're angry and pissed off and responding to all these comments. And then also this whole idea about the iron sharpens iron in the way that it's taught in the church does enable the church to maintain that. We are the leaders. You need to follow and do what we say.
Right.
Step in line, stay in line, stay in formation. Don't, and if you don't, again, if you're stepping out of line, we're going to call you out in the name of iron sharpens iron and accountability. And it's just bleh.
Right. It's harmful. It's letting those people construct your identity.
And if you're a fan of Wicked, and we are, what the wizard said, that, the way to bring people together is to give them a good enemy.
Yes. The wizard who turns out to be bad. So
no spoilers.
Oh, well, people know that.
I hope people know that. Gee whiz. And then I hope so. Okay. I think we know that. Well, he is bad at the end of one because he has no power. So I think we got that. So it's all good. Okay. We just won't say any more.
Okay. Not a word.
Okay. And then again, as get back here, what we're talking about. And then you add bots and AI. Now AI is getting so amazingly good and bad and all that. There's algorithms to the mix and it's all designed to stir the pot.
Yep. And it's the perfect storm for us to destroy ourselves and do damage to the most vulnerable among us, which hurts all of us. To hurt the least of us hurts all of us.
Yeah.
And
So we hope this episode has helped you kind of open your eyes to that phrase. And so your heart is aware. You now hopefully will hear it and perceive it and receive it differently when anyone uses it, on you. And that's part of setting our hearts free to love and be loved. So please stop the doom scrolling, stop the grinding. Well, except on Grindr, but don't let yourself be ground down.
Yes.
It's not iron grinding iron.
No.
Okay? We know that.
It leaves us all just in shards.
Cut and dull.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can stop that because our heart knows now.
Yeah.
So hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay, so again, thanks for joining us today. We love you so much. Let's, don't get cut, don't get dull. You're all good. We love you. We will talk to you next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the Freed Hearts Podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant, inclusive community for you at freedhearts.org. Please just come say hello. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for the podcast, just email us at podcast@freedhearts.org. Audio engineering is provided by Luke Johnson. The music is provided by our daughter, Hannah Cottrell, who is Grammy nominated. You can find out more about her and her music at hannahcottrell.com. Please share, subscribe and follow on your favorite platform, and support us if you can. Thanks for listening.